Welcome to the Cinema Gold Show. I'm your host, Larry Leeds. Today we're diving into the latest movie and TV news from around the industry. First, we'd like to thank our sponsor, Poddex, for sponsoring this episode. Poddex are the hottest new tool for podcasters looking to have more meaningful conversations or gamify their podcast. You simply shuffle up, ask a question, and let the content roll. Get yours today at poddex.com and use the promo code Larry21 right there. Larry21 for 10% off your first purchase. And now, let's dive into the first topic of the day, breakdown of Marvel's newly released Hawkeye trailer. With What If still in the middle of streaming on Disney+, it's never too early to start thinking about MCU Christmas. And the first Hawkeye trailer has arrived to let us get a feel of that expensive present way ahead of time, even as Marvel continues to add the bows and trimmings to Clint Barton's upcoming TV series behind the scenes. Starring Jeremy Renner reprising his role as Barton in Hawkeye, and introducing Haley Steinfeld to the MCU as his eager archery prodigy Kate Bishop, Hawkeye also boasts a supporting cast that features Tony Dalton, Brian D'Arcy James. There's no sign of Florence Pugh's Black Widow character in the trailer, but you can expect to see her pop up too. The series has been directed by Rhys Thomas, duo Bert and Birdie. Now, if you haven't seen the Hawkeye trailer yet, check it out today. Hawkeye will be heading our way at the end of November, but the trailer does give us a pretty good idea what to expect, so we're breaking down everything we learned from it right here. Like so much of the MCU, Hawkeye isn't adapting any particular storyline beat for beat. It is, however, drawing a lot from one particular and excellent run of comics. Matt Fraction and David Aja's Hawkeye series is essential reading, not just if you're a Marvel fan, but if you love comics in general. A lot of the characters that we're meeting here and the general tone of Clint as an exhausted everyman, getting his ass handed to him at every opportunity, are really straight out of those stories. It's winter in New York, and Clint is determined to give his kids a proper post-blip holiday. During the events of Avengers Endgame, Clint was able to help bring his family back from Thanos' brutal snap. So it looks like he's going to go all out this Christmas with dinner and tickets to the hottest new show in town, Rogers the Musical. But missing from the family trip is Clint's doting wife, Laura. Perhaps she couldn't join the gang in New York for whatever reason. But we do later see Clint assuring Laura on the phone that he'll be back with her very soon. The character of Hawkeye has been depicted as partially deaf in the comics at multiple points in history, since the early 80s. It's never been implied that the MCU, Clint Barton, suffers from hearing loss, but Clint is clearly showing wearing hearing aids in the trailer. We'll probably get some kind of in-universe explanation for this. Really, been around enough explosions in his life that it's probably self-explanatory. Now, in the comics, the incident that brought on new hearing loss for Clint was tied very directly to the story that this show is drawing a lot of inspiration from. But we won't get into that for now. How about that Captain America musical? Get an amazing glimpse of the Captain America show that Clint is taking his kids to, Rogers the Musical. Even has its rave reviews plastered outside the theater. Like a timeless story with a timeless hero and a superpowered sensation. But the actual stage performance is just so wild. Actors cheaply dressed as Thor, Loki, and Tony perform a group number while a couple portraying Clint and Natasha Romanoff are higher up on stage. The actor playing Steve looks more like Tony Starr's Homelander in The Boys and Steve Rogers, but the jury's out on whether they're purely accidental or a cheeky nod to Amazon's uber-violent superhero series. Captain America musical really was genuinely in the work at one point. And now, let's take a look at Kate Bishop. There's a lot of Haley Steinfeld's Kate Bishop in this trailer, as we expect from a series that plans to hand the Hawkeye mantle onto her, just as Marvel did in the comics. From how we understand it, Kate is Hawkeye's biggest fan and has modeled her world's greatest archer thing on him. Something tells us that she's going to be a little disappointed in her hero once she gets to hang out with him up close, as their relationship in the comics is definitely not your usual superhero sidekick dynamic. The arrival of Kate is yet another massive key to what appears to be the MCU's version of the Young Avengers being slowly introduced through all these Disney Plus shows. WandaVision brought Wiccan and Speed to the party. Falcon and the Winter Soldier gave us Elijah Bradley. Loki introduced Kid Loki. While we wouldn't expect this anytime before 2023, sure does look like Disney Plus wants an MCU Young Avengers show in the not-too-distant future. How about Ronin? If you thought the MCU was going to forget Clinton's Ronin killing spree during the blip, you thought wrong. Looks like the damage he inflicted on criminal gangs during the time he stayed off the grid is going to come back and bite him in the ass during this series. Reignited by Hawkeye, fangirl Kate Bishop choosing to don the Ronin garb and dish out some local justice with her bow and arrow. Ronin's situation did seem to have been quickly swept under the rug when Natasha dragged Clint back to the Avengers headquarters for some time travel shenanigans in Endgame. But we learn here that there are plenty of people who haven't forgotten Clint's vengeful sword work, and they're extremely pissed off. Is Ronin really Maya Lopez and Echo? We're pretty sure we only got one very brief shot of Maya Lopez in this trailer. Maya Lopez briefly took on the Ronin identity in the comics as well and began her career as a Daredevil antagonist. Don't worry, we're not going to open the MCU Daredevil can of worms just yet. Is it possible that when we first meet Echo here, she's hunting down Clint while wearing the Ronin garb? If that's the case, then the individual in the Ronin costume wielding a sword during what appears to be a little dust-up at a Renaissance fair isn't Kate, but Maya. Echo has the Taskmaster-esque ability to mimic other people's fighting styles, so it's easy to imagine how easily she could pick up a sword and become a big hit in any event like this. For the moment, our money is on this being our first real look at Echo in the MCU. Now, what did you think about the trailer? Did you spot anything we missed? Let us know in the comment section below. And as always, please hit that subscribe button. And now, on to our second topic. And now our second main topic, Batman spin-off series about Penguin. It's currently being developed by HBO Max with Colin Farrell. Colin Farrell is reportedly in talks to reprise his role from the Batman Oswald Cobblepot and Penguin-centric spin-off series at HBO Max. Ahead of the release of the Batman in theaters next year, it's been reported that HBO Max is developing a spin-off series centering on the Penguin. Variety has reported that the show would delve into Cobblepot's rise to power in the Gotham criminal underworld. Colin Farrell, who plays a dastardly supervillain in the movie, has also been reportedly approached to reprise his role for the series, though he hasn't yet finalized the deal for those appearances. Per the report, Lauren LaFranc would be writing the script for the Penguin spin-off series, said to be in its very early stages. Batman director Matt Reeves and producer Dylan Clark would be on board to be executive producer, and respectively, Warner Brothers Television will also produce. If the Penguin show gets picked up this series, it will be the second spin-off show from the Batman. It's previously reported that a drama series set within the Gotham City Police Department is also in the works at HBO Max. Joe Barton is attached to serve as showrunner. It's not yet clear if Robert Pattinson or any other actors from the Batman will appear in the series. These two shows are a part of Warner Media's overall plan to launch an interconnected Batman universe across all platforms. Penguin has become one of Batman's most notorious foes. For 8 decades now, in honor of the supervillain's 80th birthday, Batman Returns actor Danny DeVito will write a Penguin story for a comic book. Fans will remember that DeVito played a big screen version of Penguin in the sequel to Tim Burton's Batman. Burgess Meredith previously played Penguin in the original Batman series from the 1960s, while more recently, Robin Lord Taylor played a young version of the character in the prequel series Gotham. Batman is scheduled to be released in theaters. Meanwhile, several other DC shows are in development at HBO Max. This includes Peacemaker, a spinoff to the Suicide Squad, which brings back John Cena and James Gunn. Also on the way are shows based on Green Lantern and Justice League Dark, among others. So what do you think about a Penguin series on HBO Max? Would you watch it? Let us know in the comment section below and give us your thoughts on the topics we covered. And now, our final segment, Marvel's What If Episode 6 poster hints at a possible Killmonger story. Marvel Studios released a new poster for What If teases Episode 6 could have a story focused on Michael B. Jordan's character, Killmonger. The poster for Marvel's What If series teases the long-awaited Killmonger story. Ever since the announcements of What If, fans have been scouring the teasers for potential clues of what each episode would be about. When Killmonger was spotted in the official trailer for the series, it was clear the character would have a big part in at least one episode. Killmonger first appeared in the MCU as the main antagonist in Black Panther, portrayed by Michael B. Jordan. The villain is remembered as one of the best in the franchise, being a well-rounded character whose motivations made sense. Critics especially pointed out that Killmonger was unique in that he was not just a one-note bad guy, similar to what audiences see in other MCU films. At the end of Black Panther, after battling for the crown, Killmonger appears to have died while watching the sunset with T'Challa. Marvel Studios released a new poster for What If on Twitter this week, teasing that Episode 6 will have a story focused on Killmonger, with Michael B. Jordan returning as the voice of the character. Fans have a lot to look forward to in this episode. Based on his appearance in the trailer for the series, Killmonger's story is likely to cross paths with Tony Stark around the time that Tony was captured in Afghanistan in 2008. Likely, both of their stories will diverge from the main timeline a great amount due to this meeting, especially as his experience as a captive in the caves is what turned things around for Tony. Morally speaking, whether this means audiences will see Killmonger take an armored suit of his own, similar to Rhodey's War Machine, or convince Stark to help him invade Wakanda for the tech. Fans only need to wait until the episode premieres on Wednesday to find out. With Jordan returning to play Killmonger in What If, as well as the tragic loss of Boseman last year, there's been some speculation on Jordan's future in the MCU. While his character may have died at the end of Black Panther, there are rumors that he could return, perhaps take up the mantle of his cousin T'Challa. How Marvel would manage to make all that work is anyone's guess. But Michael B. Jordan certainly has the star power to pick up where Boseman left off, and would respect the role and what it means to millions of fans around the world. For now, fans will not know how Marvel and the creatives of Black Panther will move forward until more information is released about Black Panther 2. That is all we have for this episode of the Cinema Gold Show. Thank you for watching. Let us know your thoughts on the topics we covered. Let us know what you want covered in future episodes. And if you want to support the show, consider joining our Patreon, patreon.com/cinemagold. We got multiple levels you can support, or you can buy us a coffee at buymeacoffee.com/cinemagold. Thanks for watching, and we'll see you next time.